Hey, blessings and welcome to today's Law Enforcement Daily Devotional. Man, we've had some good days where we've had this cool story just inserted in the middle of this book of Numbers, and it's been about numbers and census and just all kinds of counting things. Um, Even some rules and some laws added into Numbers. Today we're going to finish up kind of a little bit of this short narrative portion of these verses that we've seen in the 20s chapters, and then we're going to go back to Numbers, and we're going to finish today's read going back to what the purpose of the book of Numbers was. And please don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that this story of Balaam had no purpose in Numbers. It absolutely did, and it was part of the history that had to be inserted right here. And what an awesome story it was. And we're not done with it. We're going to read a little bit more about it tomorrow. But today, there's just this short little break in chapter 27, and I'm very thankful for these little sections, because in chapter 27 verses 5 through 8, God shows his fairness towards the women of Israel. He loved all his children, men and women. And I know sometimes just because of the things and the way things worked out in the culture and their times, women did not get the respect that they're used to in today's culture and society. So it's really neat for us to see that God loves the women as much as he loves the men, and he shows them right here that they're equal in the inheritance. That right there tells you that they're equal in God's eyes. Just a really neat inserted story in here, and I think for me that is the purpose of that little insert. God didn't have to put that in there, but he wanted us to know that. Man, chapter 12, Moses gets to stand on a mountain and look over into Canaan and see the promised land that they have been trying to get to for 40 years. And even though he sinned against God and he doesn't get to go into the promised land, God lets him stand on a mountain and look, and God says, here, this is what y'all were searching for. Here it is. A neat moment. And then he kind of transfers some of the power to Joshua, and we're going to read a ton about Joshua. Cool guy. But then we get into chapter 28 and chapter 29, and we get back into kind of the numbers of the regulations, and it shows what the numbers were for the sacrifices, for the daily sacrifice, for the sacrifice that occurred on the Sabbath, for the sacrifices that occurred once a year. And then he goes into the number of animals that are sacrificed during the feasts, and he goes, through the Passover, through the Feast of Booths, the Day of Atonement, and I'm not even going to be able to remember all of them, but all the feasts, they're broken down, and he gives specific instructions for each one of these feasts and for the offerings when they come together for one of these feasts, for one of their celebrations. So a neat chapter. Tomorrow we're in Numbers 30 and 31, and if you remember, we referenced chapter 31 when we're talking about Balaam, and we're going to see that again tomorrow. So read ahead, come back and get ready to finish that. I think yesterday I said today would be part 3. Well, today wasn't. I apologize for that. We take this little short break for the offerings, but tomorrow will be part 3. So come back tomorrow ready to go through chapter 30 and 31. In the meantime, you guys be safe.